Let's get this over with.
Elect me. I'm in the 20th century, 21st century. We're the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity. Nothing. Including the Senkaku Islands is unwavering. And as I said to you maybe before we started, I don't remember how I said it when we started. I get instructions from my wife, who's a school teacher. Tens of millions of people's debt was literally about to get canceled. But then some of my Republican friends and elected officials and special interests sued us. And the Supreme Court blocked us. But that didn't stop us. No, I mean it sincerely. We continue to find alternative paths to reduce student debt payments. Folks, I will never stop to deliver student debt relief on hardworking Americans. People say to me, it's great you're helping people into college. How about all those hardworking people who grew up and had no opportunity to go to college? I get it. That's the neighborhood I come from. That's why a big part of my economic agenda is investing in all Americans, whether you attend college or not. And I tell you what, I really wonder, why did I commute every single day? Over 1 million miles round trip over the time I was in the United States Senate. Get back to work. Well, I tell you what, you want to come make a speech or shush up, okay? I'm not messing around with him. He looks like he could take me. Ask me. Our administration's already cut the deficit by $1 trillion. I'm going to cut it even more this decade by making big corporations and very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
The gap between what the government spends and what it earns widened to $1.7 trillion in the fiscal year that ended last month.
How imminent do you think an attack on Israel is from Iran, Mr. President?
I don't want to get into secure information, but my expectation sooner than later.
Mr. President, what is your message to Iran in this moment?
Don't.
Are American personnel and assets?
There are real threats we face. There are more extreme voices out there who simply don't want to see people of color in the future of our country. They want to turn back the clock. Voter suppression, election suppression, banning books. This is 2024, banning books, attempting to erase history.
The first one is called All Boys Aren't Blue. And I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated.
President Biden scheduled to arrive at his North Shore's home near Rehoboth Beach. According to the itinerary put out by the White House, we're expecting the president to arrive just after 6 p.m. This weekend's trip has forced a change to a cleanup event by the Friends of Cape Henlopen State Park. It was scheduled for Saturday at Gordon's Pond, which is where Marine One, the helicopter the president arrives in, lands. Playground picnic area there. Now it'll be moved to the Lewis side of Cape Henlopen State Park. Biden already has made 9 trips to Delaware this year, including 2 to the beach. He made 11 trips to the North Shore's home in 2023.
We both remember the choices that were made to forge a friendship that were once only a devastating fight that existed before. Well, we are the same, Japan and the United States. We may be divided by distance, but generations after generation, we've been brought together, the same hopes, the same values, the same commitment to democracy and freedom and to dignity for all. First of all, we keep improving our lines of communications with one another. That's the United States and China. I've recently spoken at length with President Xi, and we've agreed that we would, number one, have personal contact with one another whenever we wanted to discuss anything, so there'd be nothing slips between, as they say, between the cup and the lip, so we know exactly what the other team is thinking. Number one. And so we had a long discussion almost 2 weeks ago now. And the best way to reduce the chances of miscalculation and misunderstanding. Next question. Who do I call on next? Hang on a second. I got my list here. Hang on. I apologize. Aurelia of AFP. And it's tied to the hostages. There are a number of hostages that are being held by the Hamas. And just yesterday, we're meeting with the Vice President, our National Security Advisor before that. And they're American hostages as well. And they know how committed we are, the whole team, to getting their loved ones home. We're not going to stop until we do. The new proposal on the table, Bill Burns led the effort for us. We're grateful for his work. There's a now up to Hamas. They need to move on the proposal that's been made. And as I said, we'll get these hostages home where they belong, but also bring back a 6-week ceasefire that we need now. Prime Minister is going to travel to North Carolina tomorrow to visit that project. Don't stay. Don't stay. We need you back in Japan. They'll probably try to keep you.
Today, data showed that inflation rose more than expected for the third straight month. So how concerned are you about the fight against inflation stalling, and do you stand by your prediction for a rate cut?
Well, I do stand by my prediction that before the year is out, there'll be a rate cut. This may delay it a month or so. I'm not sure of that. We don't know what the Fed is going to do for certain. But look, we have dramatically reduced inflation from 9% down to close to 3%. We're in a situation where we're better situated than we were when we took office, where inflation was skyrocketing. And we have a plan to deal with it, whereas my opposition talks about two things. They just want to cut taxes for the wealthy and raise taxes on other people. And so I think they have no plan. Our plan is one I think is still sustainable.
I think he's been absolutely disastrous for the economy.
I agree.
Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally. Raise your hand. All right, so that is everybody. President Biden argues that his economic record has been very good. He said President Trump's was not as good. What are you keying off of? Sean, since you had the best smile, and Virginia the second best smile, what are you keying off of to say President Trump's economic policies would be better for you?
My past performance of my 401k. I know it was post 2020 and everything kind of flipped around, but you can't blame everything on 2020 for forever.
I mean, I feel like he doesn't even take accountability for at all with what's going on in the economy. Not even accountability. Like, he's in denial that it's happening.
The point is Biden needs to hear the people, because when he's talking about the economy doing stellar, he's talking about the stock market. He's not looking at homelessness or joblessness. He's not, at Hagee's point, thinking about how much it costs to go to the grocery store.
Well, Fumio, welcome back to the White House. Welcome back to the Oval Office. It's good to have you here. Good to see you again. When we were here last year, we said the role being played by the United States and Japan is becoming even greater, and I couldn't agree more with your assertion back then. And what we see in our joint support for Ukraine in the face of Russia's vicious assault is just outrageous. There is no ban to Japan. Thank you. Thank you. Why didn't everybody holler at once? I get instructions from my wife